We will call the meeting to order this evening. Good evening and welcome to the Town of Sykesville Mayor and Town Council meeting. Today is a sunny April 24th, 2023. Officially called the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. And this meeting, as I'd like everyone to know, is being streamed live to Carroll Media Center's YouTube channel, as well as the town's Facebook page, and will be available for playback. We begin our meeting as we begin all of our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That moment of silence. Okay, everybody. Thank you. All right, we have one member of the public here. Welcome. Are you happy? Are you signed up for public comment, or are you just here to observe? Well, welcome. We love it. Thank you. So we will move on to the first item of our agenda, which is actually the consent agenda, inclusive of only our minutes from April 10, 2023. Has everyone reviewed the minutes?
Have they been updated?
That was my next question. We had a dangling participle, no end of one particular sentence.
Wait for the voice behind the curtain to tell us if the minutes have been
In
updated.
great and powerful Oz has not yet spoken.
I think I just heard no.
No?
A motion to approve the consent agenda with corrections pointed out earlier today.
Thank you, sir.
Good call.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. So we have Councilman Grassley with the first and Councilman Dyer with the second. All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's all of us. The motion passes unanimously. The minutes are approved. Second item is an item of new business, and our first of two in that category. The first is to consider, discuss, and act upon resolution number 2023-04 already. A resolution supporting the allocation of space at the site of the old Robert Moton High School for a museum. Is there any need for any discussion? I'm sure everyone has reviewed the resolution, and in fact we had a representative of the Friends of Robert S. Moton nonprofit appear before us, I think in early March, and we were given the opportunity to ask questions and have those answered. Is there any need for discussion amongst staff?
Okay. Do we need to have this because they approved it and they put it in the budget? The commissioners did.
Yes.
April 23rd, I believe it was. Right?
Yes, they put $10,000. They assigned $10,000.
Right.
Now the budget's not yet been approved, so it's there, right?
Right.
But I'd like the commissioners to know, and I actually met with our commissioner, President Rothstein. I'd like the commissioners to know that we are in support of the space and the need for the museum as per the resolution as it states. So I believe it's important to have it.
Have they received any other letters, do you know, from other municipalities?
Yes, I'm sure that they received one from Westminster, with a resolution that was submitted to them from Westminster, and I believe they actually replied with a letter from the Board of Commissioners as well to Westminster.
Okay.
Right. Do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2023-04?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. So the motion is made by Council Member Guroff and seconded by Council Member Keenan. All in favor of resolution number 2023-04, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that is also unanimous. The resolution passes. Next item of new business is to consider, discuss, and act upon resolution number 2023-05, which is to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents related to the town's continued participation in the Circuit Rider program. Just a quick item summary I will review, and then I'll turn it over to staff. The attached resolution and supporting documents will allow the town to continue our participation in the Circuit Rider program for small municipalities, that's us, through the Department of Housing and Community Development's Office of Neighborhood Revitalization. And this has been a program we've been participating in now for almost a decade, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been my entire time here.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been long before then as
Yeah,
well.
it was. It just was a different individual who was our circuit rider. So go ahead there, Joe, please.
We're really, again, because this is something that we've continued every year, I just want to kind of reiterate some of the things that the circuit rider does for us, which is, they administer from start to finish most of our grant programs, particularly program Open Space, the Strategic Demo Program, and the Community Legacy programs. Jared helps us out with special projects, most recently, obviously, the splash pad, which he continues to keep up on, making sure that the health department inspections happen every year, making sure that, our chemicals get delivered, things like that, just to, make sure things happen as needed. He coordinates reimbursements for the facade improvement program, so there's lots of administrative duties that he takes care of here, and it's all for the low price of around, $27,000 or so. So we basically have a full-time employee for, half the cost of what it would normally be. So again, we're very supportive of this program. Appreciate Jared's efforts, and respectfully request council to continue on with the circuit rider program.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
Nope.
Councilman Grassley?
Are they talking about increasing that grant that they're giving the towns? I know it's been like that for a long time. Is there any talk of that, or
Increasing
the grant we receive?
Specifically for the circuit rider program?
Yeah.
Well, what we pay the circuit rider is, voluntary for us.
Okay.
They almost cover his full salary. We supplement that with a little extra because it is a dedicated circuit rider just for us. Usually they're shared between towns.
Okay. And then when we supplement it, he receives a COLA
Yeah.
through the supplement?
No.
Okay.
That's just a straight line item in the budget.
Okay.
And it's just divided 25 by bi-weekly
Correct.
checks. Anything, Councilmember Guroff? Council President Carter?
I do. So there's 25,000 that we set aside for this. That's our participation because he does a little bit extra for our town.
Correct.
Is it? And this is the fee or the line budget item that we've had for several years at that same amount. Is there any consideration to modify it?
It was increased last fiscal year to the 25. It was 20 before then.
Okay. Just making sure that we're not holding steady for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything from Councilmember Dyer for staff?
Good.
Okay. Without any further questions for staff, is there a motion? Which I could probably read that for you, the motion that is being recommended by staff. You got it, okay.
I'll do it. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-05 and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents related to the town's continued participation in the circuit rider program.
Thank you, Councilman Keenan. That's a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Council President Carter with a second. All in favor, or is there a need for further debate? I apologize. I want to give everybody a moment to take a beat. No further questions or necessary discussion. Having none, then I will call for that vote. All in favor of the motion on the table to approve resolution 2023-05 and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents related to the town's continued participation in the circuit rider program, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I thought that was everyone. So again, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. And I didn't start out the meeting by saying, but there is time for me to do it now. We are going to break a record this evening. So all right.
No, let's get
I feel confident saying so right now.
No
Plus
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah's not
No
here.
Jeremiah.
All right.
I didn't say that out loud, did I?
You know he's watching right now too, by the way. So I'll start out with our announcements and reports. The first of these announcements is that the next meeting is Monday, May 8th, 2023, right here, same channel, same time. Second announcement is that we have volunteer opportunities available on the Historic District Commission and the Police Auxiliary. If you're interested and want to have any more information about volunteering with the town, please email us at town@sykesville.net. And the most important of all of these announcements this evening, as far as I'm concerned, is that we have an election day coming up on May 2nd. May 2nd, which is our upcoming Tuesday. May 2nd.
A week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow, if you can imagine that. So, that being the next election, it is here in the town hall, right here in the council chambers at the townhouse. Please come vote only once, but early and not often. I encourage that. We have 3 seats on the docket on the council up for grabs by the 3 incumbents. And although there are no challenges this go around, I cannot stress enough how important it is that the public continue to come out and show up and vote and participate in our municipal elections this year and every 2 years. Next, staff updates. I'll turn to Joe.
Thank you, Mayor.
Welcome, sir.
Building on the election information you just gave, I do want to remind everybody that the swearing in for the newly elected members is the third Monday of May.
Okay.
So mark your calendars for May 15th at 7 o'clock. And we'll most likely do them either in this room or out in the lawn like we did last time.
Great. I'll be there.
A couple other things. The town staff did receive the first draft of the revised Historic District Commission guidelines. So again, we've just started the review of that. And we'll be forwarding that on to the HDC members soon enough so that they can start looking at it and making comments. I want to make everybody aware that there are several sidewalk improvements that should get started either tomorrow or Wednesday. One is at the corner of Harlan and Gray Way, one at Harlan and Colorama, and then there's a spot on Norris that we're going to try to fix.
Okay.
Depending on how quickly we get those done, there might be a couple other areas in town that we'll look at. One is around Shannon Run Park. Once we try to figure out if we could potentially avoid not taking the trees down, and then another spot at the end of Jennifer and Overack. There's a pretty funky area right around there.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I have is just a quick brief update on the water and sewer work that's going on. Really, Main Street is status quo. They're making some of the needed connections there with the water line. They're still waiting to figure out exactly what to do with some of the lining issues that they had on the south end of town. So until they get that resolved, you probably won't see much work happening down there. On Springfield Avenue, they're actually getting close to finishing up the sewer side of the work, which then will start the water improvements, which the reason I bring that up is because there is a bypass element of that, so you'll actually see potentially some exposed lines there along Springfield Avenue, like above ground.
Okay.
But outside of that, it's status quo.
Okay. Well, it's progress.
It is
In the
progress.
right direction.
It is.
Thank you, sir.
Every day we get a little closer.
I love it. I love it. That brings us to our public safety report. Chief Spalding. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mayor, but I've got a lot to talk about tonight.
We're still good, though. We're so good.
I'm
We're golden. I won't rush you.
Actually, kidding.
Okay. I was going to say, what don't I know about?
Yeah, it is a short public safety report. It only covers about 2 weeks. And we had to cut out a week because of the fact that both Barbara and I were gone last week. We were at the Maryland Municipal League Police Executive Association annual training conference. I'm happy to.
You happen to serve as?
Ma'am, I'm happy to inform you that I become the chair for a 2-year period. So as such, I will actually, thank you. I will actually sit on the executive board with the MML. So I'll be able to keep you all informed, hopefully in a much better fashion. So
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, I did want to mention that actually before I start that the conference went very well. And I've got to give a shout out to Julie and the DSC and all the downtown merchants because they provided us with a humongous basket for our raffle prizes, which was clearly the largest gift there on the table. And people were fighting over it left and right. So, in fact, one of my colleagues said, as we were leaving, that he was getting ready to go back and start working on a gift basket for next year so he could beat me. So
Because that's why you won this year.
absolutely. So thank you to Julie in that basket. It was huge.
I'm sure she's listening in.
I hope so.
Yes.
So the public safety report again, it just covers April 3rd to the 14th, 306 total events, as you can see. Much lower numbers in some areas just because of the brevity of the public safety report. But 5 assist other agencies. And I did want to mention, Mayor, that I got your notes on the corrections. We've already implemented some steps to fix all that.
Thank you.
And so I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And just for the edification of the council, I had, did I CC you on that? Oh, okay. Just to clear up the report a little more concisely. Thank you, Chief.
Absolutely. So 5 assist other agency, or there was 4 community policing events. 15 traffic enforcement initiatives. Patrol checks are still up 148 for a total of 306 total events. And we also had 14 incident reports, which I'd be more than happy to answer any questions about if you have. Kim?
Chief, I have a question. The incident resident on Norwood, was that the resident that was charged, or was the resident reporting it?
Well, fortunately, we have Officer Jacobs here again to join us, and as usual, he was right in the middle of all that. But it was a resident there. It was I believe, a renter who was staying there.
Yeah, it was a long-term renter of that location.
That he was charged, or he reported?
He was charged. He was arrested by Officer Jacobs and Officer Hoppe.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if he was if the resident was the one that reported it because it was somebody walking by, or if...
It was also reported by residents of the same area.
Okay.
There was like 3 witnesses, I believe, that
Okay,
saw him.
thank you.
So I'm dying of curiosity, as often am.
Please don't ask me to explain.
Survey stakes? Why in the world would you steal them?
I'm sorry.
One of the reports had to do with stolen survey stakes. Like, why would you?
A lot of times in property disputes,
kids?
a lot of times neighbors will pull out the stakes of another neighbor. I don't know if that was in fact the case, but somebody removed them. Whether they were stolen with intent or they were just removed, it's hard to say. But.
Worth a lot of money in scrap metal, I'm sure, too.
I think it's worth more money in getting resurveyed.
Yeah,
That's true.
Okay.
That really stinks.
Yeah. And actually, we took that report right in the midst of taking the multiple thefts from motor vehicles that we handled.
Wow.
And we're up to 21 victims now total. In some of those cases, I should say, the car handles were tried, but the doors were locked. So even if someone tried a car and we had a report, we captured them as a victim. So not every one of those 21 victims had something stolen. In many cases, if there was nothing in their value, nothing was stolen, but we still captured that person as a victim if they reported that somebody entered their car.
But no breaking and entering, it's all
Not one.
unlocked or locked.
And the large majority, I think in 3 cases, the cars were locked and they tried to handle and moved on to the next one. So they're looking for the low-hanging fruit. So again, if I could reiterate, we do this often, but please lock your cars. If you don't lock your cars, at the very least, remove anything from the interior that'll be stolen. Sunglasses, change, loose change. I think there were some earbuds taken, some jackets, knives, flashlights, things of that nature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
That stinks.
So. Well, any other questions about any of the reports?
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 67, can you explain what an emergency petition of female subject is?
Yes, anytime we're called to an incident that involves somebody who's exhibiting signs of a mental health crisis, if they articulate or if evidence is developed that they're harm to themselves or others, then we're required by law to take them to the local hospital for an emergency petition, where they're evaluated and sometimes held up to 72 hours prior to being released. So we get a lot of those, quite honestly.
Was this a self-report? Are they mostly self-reported? Or?
Generally, they're not. Generally, it's someone that calls us. I don't know in this case. I don't recall if who called, but someone obviously felt concern for this person's welfare and called us, and we took appropriate action.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes,
That's a group home down there.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number 75, negligent driving on Springfield Avenue, single car collision. Was speeding determined to be a factor?
That was Officer Young that handled that. It was not. It was actually the person had fallen asleep, had not slept all night and worked very early in the morning and had fallen asleep. Officer Young did charge her with negligent driving, fail to remain alert, and things of that nature. There was extensive damage to the guardrail and some signs there, and quite honestly, she was lucky she didn't kill herself.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, very dangerous.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm always concerned about the speeding. That seems to be a chronic problem at certain times of the day on Springfield going down the hill, so I was just curious, but
Sure.
that sounds awful. Okay, thank you. Anything?
One last thing real quickly, I know.
No, we're still good. Our record is 31 minutes.
Okay,
so
we're going to beat that, I promise you.
excellent.
I did want to point out excellent work by Officer Hoppe. I know I had promised this to you and the community some time ago about reestablishing or updating our town business directory. And actually, it was initially Officer Darby was working on it, and then he left. And Officer Hoppe picked it up, and she's just done a phenomenal job of going to every single business in town, getting contact information, after-hours phone numbers, what type of security they have. Just did a phenomenal job. So now every one of our officers has an updated list of every business in the town. So this is a valuable source of information. And this, of course, will help us when we need to reach out and notify people of events that are happening in town that may affect them.
Excellent. And then if I could suggest, and thank you so much for that, and thank Officer Hopper for us. Not that we have a lot of turnover, thankfully, on our main street or our downtown district, but when you come and others leave, it might be good maybe to stay in contact with Julie about that. And if she's on the lookout and knows that that's something that she's got to get to you guys, that would be a good idea.
Of course.
I assumed you did a yearly update, along with the emergency plan.
We tried to, and it's hard to stay up with. Obviously, there is a lot of turnover, and in times it gets difficult to always go out and follow up. But Officer Hoppus is on it now, and I feel very confident that she will continue to stay on top of it.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I did want to real briefly mention about the catalytic converter thefts, because I know that had come up the last meeting, I believe. Sergeant Lacey did an excellent analysis, and this is where his true value is really realized. An excellent analysis of all the catalytic converter thefts, not only in our town, in the county, but in adjacent communities. I actually reached out to Howard County and Baltimore County just to get a sense of where the trends are. And I'm happy to say that in our county, this was initially 15, now it's actually up to 17. So there's been 17 total throughout our entire county. Again, we've only had one, knock on wood, so far. But he was able to put together some stats about the time of day and location and things of that nature, and actually provide a chart with all the cases. And it's just valuable information, valuable intel information for us to have to help us better deploy our resources and hopefully prevent it from happening here again. So as a reference, Howard County, I think, was up to 108. So it just goes to show you, this is a prevalent crime right now, and we'll do our best to try to keep it out of Sykesville. Or if it does come to Sykesville, we'll do our best to try to capture and charge those that are responsible for it. So. And lastly, I did want to mention another thing Sergeant Lacey has done with the thefts from auto. He's taken the initiative to put together a Crime Watch bulletin. And as you know, we posted it on Facebook as well as on the Ring Neighbor app. Actually, that went out to 3,920, they call it push notifications, went out to 3,992 people, just notifying them of the issues here in town with the thefts from vehicle. But Sergeant Lacey has taken it a second step and has put together this Crime Watch bulletin, which is going to be mailed to every single resident in our community. And again, it just gives information on what's happening and how to prevent it from happening. So I thought it was a great initiative on his part to take it one step further, and hopefully we'll reap the benefits of it.
I'm sure we will. It may not even know it, but we will, I'm sure. I mean, people being aware is a big step.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, ma'am.
And Sergeant Lacey for us, too.
I certainly will. Any other questions? No?
Great. Thank you, Chief. So we have no treasurer's report, nor do we have a treasurer. So, I mean, here,
We do have
in the room, we do have a treasurer, but I miss his socks and shoes, so, okay. So that is all of our staff updates, and I turn to anyone at the table in no particular order. Are there any council updates or council reports or committee reports, commission reports? Anyone?
DSC, we have our Art and Wine Festival coming up Saturday the 6th. We do have volunteer opportunities still available, and tickets are still available. I know people wait to see what the weather's going to be like. Westminster's got rained out or pre-canceled last weekend because of the Saturday storm. They just went ahead and canceled in advance, so I understand people waiting for weather. But we've got over 50 domestic and international wines and some non-alcoholic options. Garrett Mabe will be providing music, and 30 artists and art demonstrations with 5 food trucks. And the only other thing I want to touch on, I just want to thank everybody's support for the DSC's purchase of the building on Main Street. It went to settlement on Monday the 17th. Keys are in hand, and we are looking forward to moving forward with the building and getting it up and ready to go.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for everybody's support.
Absolutely. Unanimous agreement on all of that. Thank you. Anyone else on my right?
Just the upcoming movies and all that other stuff. We just had spring cleanup this
We did.
weekend, and that went very well. Miller Cooper's looking great. And getting ready for the movies and music in Miller Cooper, and more to come, hopefully, on the skate park competition as well.
Thank you, Councilman Burroff. Council President Carter, anything from the HDC perspective?
Yes, the Historic District Commission has a meeting this Wednesday at 7 o'clock here at the townhouse. We have several applications to review, and we will meet for the first time with our 2 new members. We're looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. And as Joe had mentioned, we're looking forward to the draft of the new guidelines.
It already looks better.
It already looks better?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think that anything looks better than what it currently is, but yes, we're looking forward to it.
Fantastic. No, that's great. It's been a long time coming, and it's grant funded, and it's a wonderful day.
Yes.
Councilman Dyer.
Nothing. Nothing that the citizens should worry about. Everything's going along fine.
Okay, fantastic.
I do have one question for Joe. What's the procedure for dealing with people who are parking, like their campers or trailers on town streets for an extended period of time?
Yeah, typically if it's on the street, there's a limit to how long they can actually park in there.
I remember that. I think it's like
So it's just a matter of
48 hours, 72 hours. There's 3 on the section of Hawk Ridge coming up. If you come off of Carroll,
Yep.
Hawk Ridge, and they'll be on your left. There's 3 lined up there right now. I don't know what the procedure is in dealing with those, but they've been there a while.
We'll reach out to the property owner.
Okay, I think it's that one big property.
Right there in the corner.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Councilman Keenan. I actually have an announcement, and I just want to make sure I have. Yeah. So I'm excited about Friday. Friday is Arbor Day here in Maryland, and it's Arbor Day here in Sykesville. And Sykesville Parks and Recreation, in coordination with the town of Sykesville and the mayor, we are celebrating Arbor Day. We're going to plant 5 trees in Willard Cooper Park. Some of you may remember or know that we had to remove a couple of trees that were dead as doornails and were really causing a lot of problems for the splash pad. So we will be replacing those couple of trees with 5 new ones. So if you do the math, Jeremiah, that's a 2 to 5 ratio. So we're super stoked about that. And so anyway, Arbor Day celebration is at Willard Cooper Park this Friday morning at 9 a.m. All are invited. And I'm going to be, I have invited 2 5th graders who participated and actually one of them won first place in an art contest. Another one earned an honorable mention in a statewide Arbor Day annual art contest. And so those 2 young ladies will be joining me in planting the tree that we plant at our celebration. And also want to announce that Sykesville has been designated a Tree City USA, and we're all very psyched about that. And as all the people here at this table know, we wrote a tree ordinance this past year, and that was a key component to our designation as a Tree City USA. And of course, that ordinance included the protection and maintenance of public trees, and hence our Arbor Day celebration this Friday. So come on, come all, 9 a.m. Friday morning.
Don't be late.
Don't be late, because it's gonna happen fast.
Like the Easter egg hunt.
Not as fast as 1,500 Easter eggs getting scooped up, but it'll be fast. So anyway, is there any other business before the council this evening? If not, may I ask for a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Councilman Grassi. Do we have a second?
Second.
Council President Carter with a second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 7:30. We got it done.
7:30 and a half.
Even though I started talking too much.